Hello, I am Joshua P. Warren, and this is Joshua P. Warren Daily. And this is the month. This is the month when thousands of people from all around the country, all around the world, say they're going to come together and storm Area 51. And I am right here at my command post in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I get to hear everything that's going on. Now, isn't it funny how I just always sort of seem to end up at the right place at the right time? You know, I produced the Creepy Vegas Ghost and UFO show, so I get a lot of input coming in from everywhere. There's nothing else like it. And I have a lot of friends in the local media here who are very kind, and we're always doing stories together. Just finished filming with the Discovery Channel. The media is just crazy with this. It's blowing up. My phone's ringing off the hook. And on top of all this stuff, yesterday I got a big old box and I opened it, and guess what was inside? Some really nice books. And not just any old book, but a book that I actually wrote a little part of. It's called Area 51, Warning, Keep Out. Now, I want to tell you something about this book. I am not about to give you a commercial for a book, but it's going to sound like a commercial, but it's not a commercial for me. And let me explain to you what I'm talking about here. For one thing, most of the time when people say, "Oh, I'm a writer," that's code word for I'm broke. I don't have any money, right? Well, that's not the case for me, okay? When I was a teenager, I started publishing stuff, and people actually bought it, and I actually made money, and it actually became a business. Believe it or not, some people write stuff that people actually buy, and and if you kind of know what you're doing, you can do very well. When I was in my early 20s, I got my first deal with Simon & Schuster, the largest publishing company in the world. And before I even wrote the first word of the book, they sent me a check for 5 figures. Okay? That was just to get me going, just to get my juices flowing. Because, they liked where I was going. So anyway, I tell you this because since I've now published over 20 books and in multiple languages around the world, and I'm a guy who writes things that people actually pay for and read. So I don't ever write anything for free. And all these years, the good Lord has blessed me, and financially, I'm doing very well. You know that. So, when my buddy Timothy Green Beckley, who is a publisher in New York, contacted me and said, "Josh, I want to put out the ultimate book on Area 51, and I'd love to have you involved." I was like, done. Okay, done. You know what? The money doesn't even matter. Now, I don't want to get a reputation for doing things for free, all right? But I said, I want to be a part of this because, for one thing, I have known Timothy Green Beckley for 20 years. I met him in New York. And over the past 20 years, we have worked together on a variety of projects. I have included him in at least one of my documentaries. I've interviewed him numerous times. We've traded stuff back and forth. I even got to sit down and do the last interview, even part of it on camera, with one of his, I guess you would say, mentors, Jim Mosley, down in Key West, Florida. And that was about 10 years ago. So Tim Beckley has been a good friend for 20 years. And so I said, heck yeah, I just want to be a part of this. So what I'm telling you in a nutshell is that I'm not making any money off of this. I just wanted to be a participant in what I think what I thought could be a really kick-ass book, and it turns out, man, I was right. This is a kick-ass book. Timothy Green Beckley's Area 51. Big old alien head on the cover. Okay, so let me tell you a few things about this. For one thing, this is a big book. It's about the size of a coloring book, and yet it is almost 300 pages. And the great thing about this is that it's not just a book written by one person. What Timothy Green Beckley did was collect the most brilliant minds that he could access and said, write a chapter, write a chapter, write it. So it's an anthology, you know. And on the cover, it says, again, Area 51, warning, keep out. It has Timothy Beckley, Sean Castile, Tim Schwartz, Hercules Invictus, Scott Corrales, Paul Del Roberts, Brad Steiger, the late great Brad Steiger, by the way, Sherry Steiger, Alejandro Rojas, William Hamilton III, Preston Dennett, Nigel Watson, Skylar Alphagrin. But it says, apart from everybody else, in yellow, exclusive, Joshua P. Warren's Area 51 Time Warp Experience. Now, isn't that nice that he set my name apart there? And I have told you about this book before, but I want to tell you a little bit more about it, because when you open this thing, okay, you just look at the table of contents. Here are just some of the chapters. Okay, other than my own chapter, how do you like this one? Page 47. The people who have gone past the warning signs at Area 51. What a great title. The people who have gone past the warning signs at Area 51. Wouldn't you like to know what happened to those folks? How about this one? Visiting the DUMBs. You say, what is the DUMBs? Well, it's an acronym. Deep Underground Military Bases. What is it like when you actually go down and you see what's down there? Dulce. You know about Dulce, New Mexico. The underground Frankenstein factory. How about this one? Is Britain's Area 51 hidden in plain sight? Well, what would that be? The ways and means of teleportation. Listen to this chapter title. Alien dies on Air Force Base. That's a chapter. There's even a chapter here about Puerto Rico. Let's see. Where is it? Which is funny because, I spent 5 years living in Puerto Rico and doing research down there. And let's see. And you know what's funny? I'm pretty sure it was, here we go. The U.S. military and UFOs in Puerto Rico. Scott Corrales wrote that. I could have easily written that chapter. He put the best minds together. On the back of the book, it says, you have been warned. Everything you ever wanted to know about Area 51. Decaying alien bodies and exotic back-engineered aircraft, but we're too scared to ask. Exposing warp drives, dark energy, and unknown dimensions in the desert. So, I just got this yesterday, and I have only been able to just, crack it open and read a little of this, a little of that. It's got it's packed full of photographs, and this is just a kick-ass book. Again, I'm not telling you this because that I'm making any money off of it. I'm telling you this because if you're the kind of person who is just not that interested, well, fine. But if you are, How much do you think this book costs? What if I told you you could go to Amazon and buy this book for $29.95? You would say, well, that's tempting. What if I said you could buy it for $19.95? You say, "Oh, that sounds like a really good deal." I swear to God, right now, if you go to Amazon, you can buy this thing for $10, and I'm not even sure if that's a mistake. Because again, this is almost 300 pages. It's heavy as hell, and I mean, I myself, I mean, like I went to the Amazon page and I was like, $10? Can that be right? You can get the Kindle version for less instantly. You can be reading this thing like right now if you get the Kindle version anywhere in the world. If you want to read this thing, you go to Kindle and but yeah, it's $10. So, I'm telling you, that's the end of my non-commercial commercial, but you really if you actually give a shit about what's happening at Area 51 and you're in the wavelength right now of what's happening with disclosure and all, you have to read this book. Area 51, Warning, Keep Out. So, thank you, Timothy Green Beckley, for inviting me to be a part of this, and I think you'll find my chapter quite interesting as well. But you have to understand that when this event happens, which is going to be around September 20th. Look, I don't have anything to do with the event. I didn't plan it. I mean, this is just, some kid planned this thing as a joke, and now it's actually turning into at least a music festival, I guess. Um, I still am interested in what's going to happen there. So I do not personally want to go out there because, and I've told you this before, for one thing, I've been there already. And secondly, look, I have friends in the military, and I respect the military, and I respect the job that they do for our security. And so I don't want to personally go out and say, yes, I've contributed to badgering these folks or whatever. But that said, if people are going to do it, well, I'd like to know what happens. So I do have a correspondent who's going to tell me what happens. Now, you have to understand also when you go to Area 51, there's no cell phone signal. Any kind of a radio transmission is restricted, so it's practically impossible to get live feedback. But I'm going to be getting the most immediate feedback that you're going to get anywhere. And so, you know how when it comes to this particular podcast, especially now, you're kind of used to me just doing it, every day or two or three or what kind of like what, well, that's all going to be different this month because this month I'm going to be updating you. I might just leave a 5-minute podcast, and then an hour later I'll leave another 5-minute podcast, and then an hour later I'll leave a 10-minute pod. I'm going to be updating you as stuff sort of trickles in about how this goes. And my man in the field, Nick Weird, I mean, he is going to go out there and he's going to document a lot of stuff which will be processed over a period of days, and then I'll tell you about it. But if you want live coverage of how all this is going to go through the command center here, the command post, I just want you to understand this is Joshua P. Warren Daily. It is an uncensored, independent podcast. You have to go to joshuapwarren.com, click the link to the podcast, and just subscribe through various means, or follow me on Twitter at Joshua P. Warren, and you will get a notification of some kind. Oh, we got a new update for you. Got a new update. It's going to be a really busy, hectic weekend for me. And because that I produce the Creepy Vegas Ghost and UFO show on Saturday nights here in Las Vegas, hosted by Mr. Nick Weird, I want to remind you that we're getting so much attention on the Area 51 thing that I've decided to funnel some of that into a big fundraiser. So this coming Saturday, September the 7th, 2019, 7 p.m., the Creepy Vegas show, which is 60 fun paranormal minutes in a bar, where you get to touch haunted objects and get your picture with them and see debris from Roswell and see video footage of weird stuff. I mean, uh, all the proceeds from this weekend are going to go to charity. They're all 100% are going to go to the Nevada SPCA no kill shelter. And my wife Lauren and I have gone over there multiple times and toured the place, and the staff is great. And Zach Bagans has adopted dogs from there, and it's just a really it's a great place, and it's a good cause. And so, if you're going to be in the Vegas area, come on out here on Saturday and enjoy the show, and know that whatever you spend goes to charity. And if you can't be here, well, you can still contribute if you just go to creepyvegas.com and buy a ticket for $19.95. And then that money will still go to the charity. But I'd appreciate it if you'd let me know that you're not going to be there so I can work out the seating. Contact at creepyvegas.com. Contact at creepyvegas.com. Also, if you're here on Saturday in Las Vegas at Millennium Fandom, which is where we do the event, you are going to be able to participate in a raffle. Yeah, I'm going to raffle off some stuff, and it's some cool stuff. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's some cool stuff. So, okay, there you go. Area 51, warning, keep out. If you go to Amazon.com, you can search for that. But your best bet is to go to my Twitter. Go to joshuapwarren.com, and on the homepage, you'll see a link to my Twitter account. And you can click on that, and then you just click the link to the book on Amazon. Okay, that's the easiest thing. Just go to Joshua P. Warren Twitter. Surely to goodness you know how to access a Twitter account now that Donald Trump is the president, right? And then you click the link to the book, Area 51, Warning, Keep Out. And I don't know, it might be a mistake that it's only $10, but if that's a mistake, well, you better take advantage of it.